I'm in pretty good spirits. I just got a phone call from my daughter. I don't know what she was doing. She's at school right now. Must be in between periods. She's a senior, and they let her get away with murder. Let her come and go as she pleases. Got her internships and her AP class, all that stuff. And I got a phone call from her, and she's like, "Dad, I really want to get tickets this summer to go to see the Dave Matthews Band." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "I've been playing that in the car for years, and you guys are always yelling at me to change it, but that they're coming over. Little by little, they're coming over to the dark side. Yeah, they're coming over, listening more of my music. I catch my son. He's working out in the gym, and all of a sudden I hear, Led Zeppelin cranking, Rolling Stones crank, and I'm like, out with your garbage, in with my good stuff. Happy about that. Anyway, let's get into it. Yes, A to Google. Yep, Alphabet today announcing they're going to lay off 12,000 people. I think that's how many they hired last year. 12,000 people. Again, I've got insiders at Google. I do, and I've got to look into some of the nuances here. I looked at the memo that was put out by the CEO, Pichai, and he basically saying that, we got to reduce our workforce. We're sad to see so many incredible people and so much talent go, yada, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Do they have some talented people over at Google? Yeah. Do they got a lot of useless, woke, idiot kids? Yeah, they do. Like I said, I know people at the company, and it's amazing to me. The stories that I hear inside some of these tech companies are they're incredible. The nonsense that goes on, and just how ridiculous some of the stuff is. Good. But you know what's interesting is, Sergey and Larry are back. Sergey and Larry are back. They're concerned right now about Google's positioning when it comes to AI. You got this new ChatGPT thing that everyone's talking about. It's artificial intelligence stuff, and they're saying it's a Google. Some are saying it's a Google killer. Their search business at Google has been a main driver for an extended period of time. We all know this. It's a verb, for crying out loud. Google. I forgot to mention this when I was talking about the Microsoft layoffs. Some of them are coming from their Bing division. Remember Bing? I didn't even know that search engine still exists. Bing. What were some of the older ones back in the day? It was Netscape. That was a browser. Netscape was. Well, Yahoo. Does anybody still use Yahoo out there? I got Yahoo stories as well from way back when, and the rackets that go on to protect some of these idiot CEOs at these companies. But anyway, Larry and Sergey are back, and they're concerned about this. I wrote a column many moons ago, and maybe next week on the radio show, the weekend show, I'll grab it. It's called "Even Blue Chips Die." And in the column, I wanted to write this. I wrote it right before things really started imploding at General Electric, and I list a bunch of then blue chip companies that extra. They're all going out of business, and people are like, what? No, I was I'm saying eventually they will, if they stop growing, if they stop doing the right thing. And I mentioned the Dutch East India Company, but 200 years, that company paid close to an 18% dividend. That's the first company that has ever issued stock. You want to talk about a blue chip. Even though Google's a verb, again, they have to keep up with things. Now, I'm not calling the demise of Google anytime soon. They have the capital and they have the wherewithal, but they are right now behind the eight ball when it comes to a lot of this AI stuff. They are. They have it for their search, but some of these new things that are coming about, they're a little bit behind. But I'm not worried about it. They'll fix it. I mean, again, like I said, they do have some very smart people there. But again, I think I told you it was going to happen. Told you, it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. I said, yeah, Alphabet's going to lay people off. Come think of it, what they always talk about, all easy money, the Fed and the easy money and cheap money and whatnot, and how it fueled all of this speculative stuff. It also fueled the woke movement. It did. It fueled the woke moment. Right, CEOs, rather than being CEOs and being tough and worrying about the bottom line, they simply didn't want to be bothered, and they would hire and they would hire and they would hire and they would offer up every sort of concession to workers that were coming in there. Remember, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about, several months ago, where they're all up in arms because they want you to come back to the office. Go blank yourself. You don't want to come back in the office. The boss told you, get the hell out. But they're afraid. Oh, they're afraid they might go on social media and bash the company. Oh, give me a break. Honestly, I'm starting to think that easy money, the worst part of all the cheap money that was floating around, was I think it did fuel the woke movement. Now it'd be great. Get all these woke fools who don't want to work, who are obviously not pulling their weight, have them go out in the real world. But again, you take a look at the severance packages that Google's given. Just say it's a different world than I grew up in. Okay. Goldman Sachs here. Goldman, again, they just different Goldman Sachs again that I grew up with. Goldman Sachs, and I've mentioned this before, when I was starting out in the industry, it was a standard. I mean, it was just everybody looked up to them. There was a book that I read. I got to find it somewhere. It was forget the writer. It was Goldman Sachs Culture of Excellence, and went through the history and how they do things there. And I studied what they did and how they went about doing things, and clients coming first, and protecting your downside. And they took all of that and they flushed it down the toilet. They got rid of their partnership and they decided to go public. Again, these CEOs, everybody braves about this David Solomon guy. I think he's a jerk, quite frankly. I do. Go, David. Go, DJ. Okay, buddy. I think he's a jerk. And I didn't like Lloyd Blankfein either. Okay, but anyway, neither here nor there. They decided to go all in on the cheap money period of time. All the stimulus checks that were out there, they started issuing credit cards through. Remember Marcus? You don't see the advertisements for Marcus anymore. Yeah, because they're scaling it back. Goldman wanted in on all of that. They were issuing credit cards, basically subprime borrowers, which Goldman back in the day, they would never do that in a million years. And they did. Well, as it turns out, there's a report coming out today that the Fed is probing Goldman's consumer business to determine whether the bank had appropriate safeguards in place as it ramped up lending, meaning what? People are starting to default. Yep. They're their consumer business again, 2021. Got to get those stimmy checks. Got to get them. Sign everybody up. Goldman Sachs switched from betting against subprime to betting with subprime. Goldman's loss rate on credit cards right now hit 2.93% in the second quarter. That's the worst among big card issuers, well above the subprime lenders. Capital One is actually considered a subprime lender. And I use Capital One cards. I like the 2 points for every dollar. Love it. I put everything on the darn thing. But their loan loss rate is 2.26. Goldman's supposed to be pretty good at this risk management stuff. Again, we'll see what happens with this. Again, we know that's where their layoffs are coming from. They're going to try to dismantle it as soon as they can. But hey, Goldman as well. They got caught up. They weren't J.P. Morgan. They needed help during the subprime stuff. They started, they were like a drug dealer, and they started doing their own drugs. Anyway, story today, New York Post. How Sam Bankman-Fried's ties with the Clintons helped him dupe investors. Come on, the Clintons. It's a big social media thing. They talk about influencers, right? These people that they get paid. They get paid to post stuff on their social media account. I know people in the restaurant business in the city, and they hate these influencers. They come into the restaurants. Well, I'm an influencer. Make me whatever I want off the menu. Give me this, give me that, or I'm not going to say something bad about you on social media. I tell all my buddies, I said, listen, tell them to go blank themselves and go on social media and say that you're telling them to go blank themselves. And guess what? You're going to get better customers. You're going to get better customers. It is what it is. I can't stand this nonsense. But anyway, the Clintons, they're big time influencers. And even before influencers were a thing, they're Clinton Global Initiative, right? That was big business. Remember, you had, Elizabeth Holmes there, Theranos. In this case, Bill Clinton went with Tony Blair to the Bahamas, got paid $250,000 to, speak with SBF. And also SBF was put on the Clinton Global Initiative. I don't know. Well, they were holding some meeting somewhere in New York, and he was supposed to be a part of it. Honestly, people, I mean, they should have to you should have to disclose these things. I get time to time. I get offered to, can you give a speech here or give a chit chat here? If I believe in the product, fine. If you want to pay for me, if I like what you're doing, whatever it may be, guess what? Okay, fine. You want to pay for me to come out and stay and the airfare, whatever it may be. If I believe in what you're doing, I have no problem back, and you don't have to pay me to do it. They almost should have to disclose, as saying, oh yeah, Bill Clinton was paid $250,000 to hang out with SBF. Anyway, I guess look, you know what I'm saying? Forget it. You know what? Forget what I said. Look at whenever you see a Clinton or a politician or any of these, these wizards of smart from Washington, D.C., whenever you see them at an engagement and they're with some CEO, whatever it may be, they're getting paid. Look at it as an advertisement. Matt Damon, fortune favors the brave, and Larry David, and all the crypto advertisements that were popular at last year's Super Bowl. Yeah, do you think that they dumped their entire portfolio into crypto? No. It was a commercial. They got paid to do that. Again, there's certain people, maybe they believed in it. I can never support a product that I didn't believe in. But anyway, let's wrapping up Davos, right? It's all wrapped up now. They're done now. I don't know. Gonna drop a few more Davos truth bombs. I do think that the globe is kind of tired of the BS, and I think people more and more are starting to see through the hypocrisy of the entire thing, just how utterly ridiculous it is. Anyway, here's something. I'm gonna, all these global ambassadors and these people that are shaping all of these agendas, what they want to do. World Economic Forum. It's just some tidbits that I found. Declares a planetary and justice crisis. What is this? A freaking Marvel or DC movie? A planetary and justice crisis. The hell are you freaking talking about, man? Yep. So let's try to scare people. And then you had Al Gore Al Gore, he always goes to World Economic Forum, and I guess he went crazy. From what I'm reading right here, he did his best Keith Olbermann impression at the World Economic Forum. And this is the same guy that, if you listen to him, there would be no ice in the Arctic right now. It would be gone. The polar ice caps would have been melted if you listen to Al Gore. Al Gore reminds me a lot of these Wall Street experts that continue to talk but are never, ever right. Anyway, he was yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs. And, yes, climate change. We have to act. I would say we have a sense of urgency much greater than we've had, and we have had. And we need to make some changes. Okay, Al. What do you say? We're still putting 162 million tons of greenhouse gas into it every single day. And the accumulated amount is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every single day on the Earth. Do you honestly believe that? I mean, how stupid do you have to be? Do you honestly believe that that's what the equivalent is, right? Come on. That's what's boiling the oceans. The oceans are not boiling, Al. Creating these atmospheric rivers and rain bombs. That's California. Rain bombs. They love the word bombs. Well, they're using, again, these were, the Weather Channel when I was younger never talked about polar vortex and rain bombs. Yeah. What's the other bomb they were talking about? What they called? I'll think of it in a second. Sucking the moisture out of the land, creating the droughts and melting the ice and raising the sea level and causing these waves of climate refugees. That's what we got. We got climate refugees now. That's why they're coming up from Central and South America and Venezuela. It's because of the climate. Honestly, dude, I mean, what are you talking about, man? And then it was funny. This report, sitting next to Al Gore. Sitting next to Al Gore is this far left, is a new president of Colombia. His name is Gustavo Francisco Petro Urrego. And he went into his, he's a deep thinker here. Deep Thoughts by Gustavo. He says that capitalism as it stands today is going to irrevocably doom humanity because it created climate change. Hey, Gustavo, capitalism has brought more people out of poverty than anything else. Gustavo, do you have an iPhone? Do you go to the doctor? Did you see the things that have been created? No, I got an idea, Gustavo. Why don't you come up with great inventions from communist countries? Great advances from communist countries. We talk about policy and politically correct disclosures when we know that the statistics mean that we are reaching a point of no return. The capitalism that we know nowadays has a driving force and logic, and that is to increase our profits in such a way. And that's how we talk about history, to regulate everything without political or social boundaries. Again, making no sense whatsoever. That's the one we have. This has resulted in some sort of global anarchy. Dude, what the blank are you talking about, man? Again, have you ever picked up a history book ever? Ever in your entire life, Gustavo, you pick up a history book, you want to see what life has been like on the planet throughout the ages and kind of see where we're at now. Yeah, we have our issues. We have our issues, no doubt about that. There's always room for improvement. Hey, buddy, you want to go back? You want to go back a couple hundred years, do you? We have to put an end to this if we wish to live in our planet. Can our capitalism do this? Can our capitalism do this? Based on the current data, we won't be able to do so. Therefore, perhaps we should do the following reflection. If capitalism is unable to do so, either humanity will die with it or humanity will overcome capitalism so that we can live live in our planet. This is the president of Colombia right now. Hey, just legalize coke. You know what? Yeah. Well, again, that's where I guess we're going to start shipping again. Right? Is coke going to make a comeback, or is fentanyl and meth going to lead the day? Amazing to me. And then I found this out as well. Remember Brian Stelter? Brian Stelter. The little Oompa Loompa from CNN who had a show called Reliable Sources, and he was fired. Why? Because guess what? His sources weren't so reliable. So he's interviewing the European Commission VP, Vera Jourova. Never heard of her. Never heard of her. But again, when she's going to tell you that she wants to take your free speech away. Yep. He says, we need the people to understand the language and the case law in the country, because what qualifies as hate speech, illegal hate speech, which we will soon have in the U.S., I think we have a strong reason why we have this in the criminal law. Censor. Just listen to us. Again, this is the same World Economic Forum. Eat bugs, everybody. You're going to own nothing, and you're going to love it. Again, these are some of the things they've come up with the past several years. Push back from this. What else we got here? Recalibration of free speech. I can go on and on and on and on. Let me explain you something here. Again, this type of crap that ticks me off. You left-wing do-gooders out there, you like putting up your signs, you like your ribbons, you like posting stuff up on social media, little flags that are the du jour at that point in time, the gay pride flags that you put out there. Was I the slightest? You're forcing NHL players to wear jerseys with the rainbow colors and their sticking on their jerseys. Quite frankly, and I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't take pride in the fact that I'm a heterosexual. I just am. If you want to take pride in the fact that you're gay, take pride in it. Okay? Don't take pride in it, but I don't have to take pride because I don't take pride in my own sexuality. What the hell? That's not an accomplishment, man. You don't take pride in it. It's not a bloody accomplishment. Anyway, all you people out there love doing this stuff, and then you put signs up, hate doesn't exist in this store, and you put signs up and all this crap. Do me a favor. Don't lecture me. Okay, you don't have to tell me this. You're making a bloody fool out of yourself. Let me explain to who these people are, these Davos types. They're not you and I. They want to rule you. They are our overlords. Again, go play the George Carlin skit from, what was it? It was in 2005, 2008, in that period of time. They're the big club, and you ain't in it. They want to tell you how to live. They'll be happy with you eating freaking bugs. Do you think they're going to do it? They want you going around in your tiny little car electric vehicle. Well, they're going to stop them from getting into their massive SUV and flying around in their private jet? Hell no. These same schmucks that lecture you about all of this stuff, they get a kick out of it. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio and all these types. They're hanging out. You ever see, I see them when I go on vacation in Greece, these mega yachts. Do you have any idea the type of fuel that these mega yachts burn? Obama and Leonardo DiCaprio, they're on David Geffen's boat in the South Pacific. Do you have any idea how much fuel those things burn? Yeah, they're going to want you in a rowboat, okay? But they ain't giving that up. Again, I going off on a bit of a rant here, and I don't want to go into Keith Olbermann territory. But, these are the people who you're dealing with. Anyway, moving on. Mexican officials and witnesses recount gun battle that captured son of Joaquim El Chapo Guzman. Again, I highly recommend this column. It's by Jose de Cordoba. I highlighted one of his columns not too long ago. Wall Street Journal's doing unbelievable work when it comes to this. I mean, the interviews with members of the cartel, the gunmen, the ones that are making the drugs, and you look at this and what took place, and it's hard for us to get our arms around just how utterly lawless Mexico is and how much power these cartels have. And again, they interview the people that were in and around the cartels and how they're with the cartels and they hate the Mexican government. And it's just, I don't know the way out in this. You're going to read this and you're going to be like, what the blank? How do you go about fixing this outside of us, not doing drugs anymore here in this country? That would work, but again, I live in the real world. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I thought about I love the 1980s film with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, Romancing the Stone, and there was the cartel guy there. Remember, they had to go to him. They got knocked on his door. He said, I don't have a car. I have a little mule. And it was some truck trying to get away from the corrupt government officials that were chasing him down. Again, great movie. But you see the lawlessness that took place in Colombia. But this is Mexico's right across the border there. Look at the articles and try to tell me what we should do. I don't know. I really don't. And they were talking about how, the Mexican army is going into people's homes looking for the cartel members. And when they come in, they steal people's stuff and they take it. It's just it's awful. It's so corrupt. So, and you feel for the people down there that have to live like this. Quick story here. A bit of a follow-up. Phil Graham and Hester Pierce today in the Wall Street Journal talking about going off on the Securities and Exchange Commission and the things that they have planned. And again, it's an echo chamber of what we've been talking about here. The SEC is not dealing with crooks and crime and SBF and Ponzi schemes and all the things that they should. They're too busy right now trying to tell CEOs in companies how they should run their business and having them account for their carbon. Yeah, I kid you not. It is so utterly stupid. And in the column itself, it says, the SEC, this is not their mandate. This is not what they should be doing. And again, this is the long arm of big government and the executive branch of government, and they're not doing their job. One more quick one before we go for the weekend here. Story, we talk about crime. I didn't really even know that much about this, but we have here in New York a law that's designed to put an impossible burden on prosecutors to turn over almost every single imaginable piece of evidence to the defense in just 25 to 35 days. And they've been going through this. The prosecutors can't keep up. And the list of things that they have to supply, all these cases are getting thrown out. They don't even bother. Misdemeanors, forget it. They can't even keep up with that, but felonies as well. The amount that they have to get over in such a short period of time. And guess what? All of the defense attorneys know this. They're not even looking at the material. They're just demanding it. If they don't get it in that period of time, case dismissed. Let's put the bad guys back out on the street. Anyway, one more quick one. Well, we'll have a look. We got to end with a fun story here today. I'm not making this up. The British food czar. Do they have a food czar? Obama started the czar bit. Remember, it was first had his was it green job czar? Was that what it was? Green job, or was it just a climate czar? It was that guy Van Jones, and they found out that he was a bit of a communist, and it didn't fly. And we were saying to ourselves, you have cabinet positions, and now you're creating czars. You do know what the word czar means, right, Barack? Anyway, The head of a food watchdog in Britain, okay, this Professor Susan Jebb, chairwoman of the Food Standards Agency. Sorry, I'm going to give a dig at our friends across the pond. Food standards in the UK. Listen, hey, right? When I go to London, yeah, you got great pubs. Your pubs are great pubs there, but am I going to eat the food? No. I know some restaurants there owned by Italians and Greeks. I'm not eating their food. Anyway, Susan Jebb said that she only eats cake during the day because colleagues give her the opportunity to do so. She wants to ban office workers for bringing cake in to fight obesity. Yep, so no more birthday cake. Because people bring cakes in, I eat them. Now, okay, I've made a choice, but people were making a choice to go into a smoky pub. Are you kidding me? No one's forcing you to eat the cake. I'm not making this up. I said, you have no self-control whatsoever, and you want to ban birthday cake. Let me tell you something about cake, Susan. I eat cake whenever the hell I want to eat cake. When I know I'm going to be eating cake at a birthday cake, you know what? Maybe I'll hit the gym a little bit harder that day. A little math, caloric math. Anyway, WatchDog on WallStreet.com. Have a wonderful weekend.